Hey everyone, hope everyone's having a good day. We're going to run through a mailbag. We have questions to answer from our live show, which airs every Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern. So if you have a question and you want to ask it, tune in next Thursday to be featured on screen. Our first question coming in from Joshua Miller. Does the rebuild around Deshaun Watson start in 2024? I'm not sure if I'm following exactly what you're saying, Josh, but there is no rebuild. Like, this is it, baby. This is it. All chips into the middle of the table. Now, if it's not quite Super Bowl or bust, because as long as you have Deshaun Watson and Myles Garrett, two cornerstone pieces, you can always reset and retool a little bit. But this is the most talented roster we have seen in quite some time. So I think this is it. Levi Mayfield, what's going on? Still polar plunge if we make it to the Super Bowl? Yeah, I said months ago, if Cleveland is in the Super Bowl in 2024, I don't know if I said make or win, but either way, I'm doing a polar plunge. And if you want a polar plunge with me, we'll get a group together and we'll meet on the beaches of Lake Erie. Cool guy called Zone. Do you think that Winfrey also is a make or break because of the legal issues and clowning around off the field? So, cool guy called Zone, referring to a video we did earlier here on the channel, some make or break candidates. And I guess you could kind of lump him into that. I kind of went with some big picture names, but yeah, Perrion Winfrey, he needs to have a maturity check this year. If Perrion Winfrey, let's say, off the field is perfect, no more run-ins with the law or with the team handbook or anything like that, and he puts together on the field a C-plus type season, they're going to hold on to him for the rest of his rookie contract. Like, Jordan Elliott is still on this team after last year. So if that's the bar, Winfrey just has to be a little bit better than that on the field. But the name of the game for him is just not getting in his own way. Browns backers, what's going on? Do you think Deshaun Watson could have a Joe Burrow 2021 type season? Ooh. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, we can pull up Deshaun Watson's stats against Joe Burrow in Watson's best season in the NFL when he led the NFL in passing, 4,800 yards and 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. If this was a blind quarterback resume, I don't think many people would peg as Deshaun Watson being the guy on the left and Joe Burrow being the guy on the right. So there's no reason why, if Deshaun Watson has a season like this with the talent in Cleveland, they can't do what Cincinnati did and go on a Super Bowl run. No one saw the Bengals going on a deep postseason run, right? No one saw the Niners in 2019 going to the Super Bowl. You get these runs that no one forecasts. I don't see why Cleveland can't be that. The only reason is because people are going to say it's the Cleveland Browns. Nothing good's ever going to happen to them. Well, nothing good happened to the Bengals for a long time, and they went to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to put history aside for a second and believe in this 53-man roster for Cleveland. Now, with that being said, Deshaun Watson, he will finish in 2023 as a top blank quarterback. For me, it's top 10, no questions asked. I will be shocked if he is not a top 10 quarterback. I'm that confident in the Pro Bowl caliber form returning in 2023. Joshua Miller, hate to say, but should we have drafted Dicker the kicker? I wanted Dicker the kicker. 95% of the name, like, just because it was called, his name's Dicker the kicker. Like, you can't pass up a rhyme name like that. Now, I sold myself on Cade York because we all do that anytime our team drafts a player. But Dicker the kicker last year for the Chargers, stepping in like a couple of weeks into the season, was statistically one of the best kickers in football. So I won't be, panicking after one season. Cade York has a really strong leg, and Dicker the kicker came out as a punter. But yeah, Dicker the kicker is looking like a much better pick right now. Lil Beam, what are some affordable RB3 targets the dog pound could sign before training camp starts? So I noticed you had the word affordable in there, and I think they're all going to be affordable. Like, I just don't think Dalvin Cook, Zeke, Kareem Hunt, or Leonard Fournette, probably the biggest names on the market, are going to find that much money. Now, maybe if an injury pops up, they could become a lot more valuable at that point. But the difference might be Zeke gets $6 million, and an affordable guy, say like Benny Snell, he was the Steelers' backup. He's going to get the vet minimum, but we're not talking about tens of millions of dollars apart here. So there are still some good, affordable guys out there because I think even the big names won't cost that much. But if you wanted to go a tier below that, Benny Snell's a name like I just said. Marlon Mack is another guy who's a free agent. James Robinson I like, but unfortunately it looks like he still is working back from that Achilles tear. So those are three guys that come to my brain right now. I'm sure there's a lot more out there that are just escaping me at the moment. But the point is, I think even the big name players will be relatively affordable. Now, before we get on to the rest of the questions on today's show, if you hate the Steelers, the Ravens, or the Bengals, then make sure to subscribe because you are in the right spot here. So subscribe down below for the best Cleveland Browns YouTube coverage. Mac Predalis, you're next up. What's your predictions for Watson's TD/interception ratio this upcoming season? Put me down for 30 touchdowns and like 10 interceptions. I think it won't be as comfortable as he was in his last year in Houston because that was his, fourth year with the Texans. I'm very excited. It's year 2, so I'm not going to really give out a lot of excuses for new offense and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know if he's going to reach his peak with the Browns in his first full season as the starter. Now, he has a lot of talent around him, but I'll go with 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Lawrence Fairclough next up. Has there ever been an elite double edge rusher duo like Garrett and Smith? If so, who were they, and do you think our guys will be as good? Thank you, and go Browns. You don't have to go back too far in history. Last year, the Philadelphia Eagles had 3 players with 10-plus sacks. Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, and then Javon Hargrave. I believe all 3 had 10-plus sacks. Now, Graham and Hargrave are 2 interior guys. Whenever I think of all-time outside duos, I think of Mathis and Freeney in Indianapolis. Those 2 guys were game wreckers. Producer Rowley, am I forgetting an obvious duo that comes to your mind right now? The 49ers, I feel like, are always good for some great edge rushers.
I'm spacing right now. That's why I'm behind the screen and you're up there.
That's a good
can't think
zone.
of anyone.
Yeah, so I always think of Freeney and Mathis, though. I'm sure I'm going to get lit up in the comment section for forgetting an obvious one. Rice Aroni, the San Francisco dish. The chances of the Browns signing Zeke, low, very low. I heard a few months ago there was maybe a bit of an internet rumor that Cleveland would have some interest in Zeke backing up Nick Chubb. But what does Zeke bring to this running back room that they don't already have, right? Nick Chubb's Achilles heel-ish as a running back is he's not the best in pass-catching situations, and I think that honestly gets exaggerated a little bit. He's better than advertised and better than Kevin Stefanski will use him on third downs, but if you're not getting that in Zeke because he has lost a step, he is not as fast as he once was, and you're getting a very good short yardage goal line back and a good pass blocking back, I don't know what he's bringing that you don't have already in Nick Chubb, who is already very good at both of those things. So if they want to add a running back, it's probably going to be a third down pass catching back, maybe a pass blocking running back because Jerome Ford, Coach Stump talked about how that's his number one thing to work on right now. So I think that Zeke is not a good fit for Cleveland. Now, this is just kind of an off-the-wall question here, but who do you think is the most overrated Browns player of all time? I only thought of this because Zeke is probably a bit, Cowboys fans are going to hate me for that, but maybe a bit overrated. He was great his first few seasons, no doubt about that, but he was kind of trash once he got that contract. So who do you think is the most overrated Browns player of all time? Joshua Miller, if the Super Bowl is the dream scenario for the Browns, then what is the nightmare scenario? 6 wins. I think if the Browns won 7 games last year, so I am definitely guilty of getting ahead of my skis from time to time here, but I'm a big believer in a big turnaround for 2023. But the nightmare scenario is Deshaun Watson is worse than last year, and the Browns are firing Kevin Stefanski. They fire Andrew Berry. I don't even want to put this out into existence at this point because Watson was a horrible investment, and Haslam starts all over again with a new head coach and a new GM, and they are stuck with a $230 million guaranteed contract for a QB that's not worth $2.30. So that is the nightmare scenario. I almost hate myself for putting it out in the world, but it ain't happening. Levi Mayfield, Myles Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year. He's never won Defensive Player of the Year. It's one of the big accolades eluding him so far. And listen, with Za'Darius Smith attracting a lot of attention on one side of the football and Jim Schwartz calling the shots up in the booth, Myles Garrett might go off for 19, 20 sacks and take home Defensive Player of the Year. This is a good value bet for all my fellow degenerate gamblers out there. You can't go wrong with Myles Garrett and the value of Defensive Player of the Year before the season starts. Okie dokie. It is that time. Pick a card time to wrap up the show. Producer Nick Roloff, what are we feeling today?
Listen,
It's not right.
I'm going to be pretty devastated if I don't end up getting this. I had 3 chances on the Browns live show. If you didn't see it live, make sure you subscribe and join us next Thursday
Good read.
while we're live. You know, that's why I'm here.
Good
I'm
plug.
a versatile player. I can do anything on the floor for here at Browns Report. So I need to come up with a big one. It's go big or go home time, and that's why I'm going with Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts. I
I
like
kind
it.
of love it.
Put me down for the 7 of Spades.
That has no chance.
Yeah.
That has no chance. I don't even think
One
you
more
think
cut
that
for
have
good
a
measure.
chance.
2 of clubs.
What's with the twos? Twos
Oh, that's
don't mean shit.
disgusting. That's
Twos don't do
disgusting. 2 of clubs. Ugh. It's a bad taste in my mouth. That's going to do it for us on this mailbag. Like, subscribe, turn those notifications on, all that good stuff. And we're going to sign off and see everyone later.